Hello, and welcome to your Friday edition of The Nerve. I am your host, Maureen Callahan, and we have another packed show for you today. First, we are going to talk about the Nick Reiner case and bombshell developments this week. His arraignment was scheduled for Wednesday morning, but moments before, his high-powered and highly expensive attorney, Alan Jackson, dropped himself out of the case. We are going to get into the hows and the whys of that, plus an update from none other than Bryan Kohberger's sister, who has a little sob story she's selling over to the New York Times. And who better to discuss both of these with than the one and only Nancy Grace. She will be joining us very shortly. After that, we'll lighten things up a little bit. We've got your incredible feedback, more troublemaker art, and then later in the show, one of your favorites, the celebrity makeup artist Tim MacKay, is back for our next Hate Watch. Emily in Paris. We cannot wait to take her to the woodshed. Okay, troublemakers, are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. As the weather gets colder, blood pressure tends to rise due to multiple factors. You've got the narrowing of blood vessels, increased cravings for salt, and less physical activity. But you have the ability to take control with 120 Life. 120 Life is a blend of great tasting superfruit juices that can help lower your blood pressure naturally. It is trusted by over 1,000 health professionals and used by people just like you who have seen real measurable results. You can try it yourself risk-free with their 2-week trial. Just go to 120life.com and use code NERVE, that's NERVE, to save 15%. You can track your progress with a simple blood pressure monitor. Watch your numbers drop and feel the difference. Plus, it's completely risk-free. If you don't see lower numbers in 2 weeks, you get your money back. Go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com. And remember to use code NERVE to save 15%. This is serious. This is your life we're talking about, and 120 Life can help. Don't wait. Take control of your health today. Joining us now, we all know her very well, former prosecutor and host of Fox 1's Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. The one and only Nancy Grace is back here at The Nerve. Nancy, welcome.
Thank you for inviting me, and I don't like what you just said. In the famous words of Batman on Lego, I don't like anything you just said. Because you said, you suggested that I'm like dark and morbid. And you're going to lighten things up after me. Okay.
No, it's not about
we'll
you.
Lighten things
Nancy,
up when we get rid of her.
No, I'm talking about Bryan Kohberger and Nick Reiner. No, never.
Where do you want me to start?
I would never invite
Reiner
somebody on the
Kohberger?
show to just slam them. Never. We are so happy to have you. So first,
you want
I'm
Reiner
dying.
Or Kohberger? I'm ready.
Okay, first let's do
on both.
Great. Let's do Alan Jackson first. So this was a bombshell, and I'm really very interested in your thoughts.
Pursuant to the law in California, Nick Reiner is not guilty of murder. Print that. Print that. We wish him the very, very best moving forward. And that's all I have today.
Let's talk about Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner first. And that leads me to their son, who now the word on the street is he was treated for schizophrenia. You know what? We'll see. We'll see if that's real. But I want to talk to you, as you just suggested, about his defense attorney. Alan Jackson, very highly paid, some estimates up to $1,000 an hour. I don't know that I believe that, but he represented Weinstein. So the reason I bring that up is because clearly he did not get off this case for any ethical problem. Okay, if he's going to represent Harvey Weinstein, with a clear conscience, this case should not bother him. So that's one reason you take yourself off of cases, because you have an ethical problem. You can't go forward. I came off one case my entire prosecution career because I had an ethical problem. I met the woman charged with murdering her boyfriend. I spoke to her. I didn't think she did it. I got off the case and went to another lawyer. He lost it at trial. And guess what? Guess what? About 5 years later, I get a call. I'm busy. I'm like, DA. And they went, hey, do you know Lynn? I can't remember her last name right now. Lynette. And I'm like, yeah. What, she wants a job recommendation? That was the woman I didn't think did it. And they went, no. She just stabbed her boyfriend dead, and I'm trying to get the old file. I'm like, yeah. Okay. So that's one reason you get off a case, you got an ethical problem. Next, maybe you have a problem representing them because you got a conflict of interest. Let's just pretend you and I rob a bank together, and I say, listen, don't start firing. And the minute you get in, you're all Barney Fife, and you bang, 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 bang. You shoot the teller. I'm like, I'm totally ratting her out at trial. One lawyer cannot represent the two of us because we have conflicting interest. No man can serve two masters. Does he have a conflict of interest? No. So what's left? I'll tell you, Mr. Green didn't show up. Mr. Green, I guarantee you, Nick Reiner's brother and sister said, we are not paying for the defense of the man that murdered our parents. He can have a public defender. Enjoy. And I think when Jackson realized,
that's exactly what I think too.
Sayonara, dude.
From all reports, Alan Jackson, who most recently got Karen Reed off, and Karen Reed is now, by all reports, flat broke. So he requires at least a 7-figure retainer. It seemed very clear to me that after the shock of the murders wore off of the surviving siblings of Nick's, Jake and his sister Romy, that they said, no effing way is the trust going to fund his defense. Now, this is my question. First of all, is it legally required that the lawyer give notice to the court at the next court date? Or was Alan Jackson trying to do Nick Reiner a little bit of a solid and say, hey, like, I am abandoning you because you cannot pay my rate, but I'm going to do you a solid and get this arraignment kicked down the road another month?
Well, you can give him that credit, but the reality is when you change lawyers, there's almost always it's not automatically required under the law that there is a delay, a continuance, a further notice as it is called. But it always happens because the new lawyer walks in and says, hey, I'm not ready. This could be, here's your choices: a guilty plea, not going to happen; a NGBRI, not guilty by reason of insanity plea, which means I did it, but I was insane at the time. A jury can come back with guilty but mentally ill. He could try incompetency. She, the new lawyer, Kimberly Green, will probably try incompetency, which means another delay. Reiner's not competent to aid her in his defense. So they'll send him away to a hospital. He'll get drugs and therapy. When he's better and he can help her defend him, he will go on trial. But that's just, a stopgap measure. So that's incompetency, or the ultimate, which is where I think they're going, an insanity, mental defect type defense.
Yes.
So that would put him behind bar. Well, in a facility till he's well.
Right. So Alan Jackson, in his courthouse presser on Wednesday, said flat out, I can guarantee you Nick Reiner will not be found guilty of murder. And I thought that was interesting because he won't be found guilty of murder. But as you said, he'll be found guilty or plead out, criminally, insanity or incompetence, what have you. I want to take a look at the incoming and aptly named Kimberly Green. This kind of reminds me of all of the weird names in the Kohberger trial, which, he pled out eventually. But, one of the lawyers was Ann Taylor. We had Judge. It was crazy. Kimberly Green seems aptly named to me because this woman seems petrified before the assembled media and actually has to be told by one of the reporters questioning her, hey, lady, you need to move closer to the mics. Okay, you're being drowned out by traffic. Here we go.
Ms. Green. I spoke to him briefly this morning, but we haven't had a chance to discuss it. I spoke to Mr. Reiner briefly this morning. How is he taking the news? He was understanding that there was going to be a change in counsel. We haven't had any in-depth conversation.
Have you talked to the Reiner family?
I have not.
His former attorney says he's not guilty. Will he be pleading not guilty?
We'll discuss that with Mr. Reiner and see how we're...
Does Alan's decision complicate the case for you at this time?
It's not uncommon for private counsel to turn over cases to us, so no, nothing about that would complicate it.
Do you think he's mentally fit to stand trial?
I haven't talked to him.
I mean, this, I think, Nancy, is where you see a lawyer like Alan Jackson worth his weight in gold. With a high-profile case like this, you need an attorney who not only knows how to talk to the media and begin selling a story, but loves talking to the media.
Well, you're absolutely right, and I learned that from the best. Johnny Cochran, my old co-anchor, my co-host on Cochran and Grace. You know what he could do? And I mean this in a positive way. He could walk onto the set that night. The show was at 10 p.m. He'd walk on 10 till 10, looking great. I would have been in my office slogging away for hours preparing on whatever the law and the facts were. He would walk in without a shred of paper, sit down, and he had it. What is it? It is an intangible charisma that you have. You can convince juries, judges, anybody of anything, even when you're completely unprepared. He, Cochran, was a great lawyer. I'm not saying he wasn't prepared. I'm just saying he didn't have to be prepared. He had it. And Jackson has it. That it factor goes a long way because he was very convincing when he says, I guarantee you my client is not guilty of murder. And my ears pricked up when I heard that, like yours. Not guilty of murder. How about just not guilty? Period. Which leads me to think there will be a mental defect defense. But as to her, she graduated Loyola. She was a great student. She's been practicing well over 10 years. She's tried a lot of cases as a public defender because they don't have a choice. They can say, I don't like this case. They're stuck with what they get in court. So they try a lot of cases to her benefit. But that presser did not do her any favors. She needs to stop the pressers.
She either needs to stop the pressers or that office needs to invest in a media coach for her and a stylist because even her jacket was ill-fitting. And I don't mean this in a superficial flip way.
I didn't know
Everything tells the story. You know, to go back to the OJ case, you know, and it was redone in the Ryan Murphy series as if this was like a communal, patriarchal assailing of Marcia Clark's hair. But the point was, everything tells your story, including your personal presentation.
I didn't even notice her hair, this Kimberly Green, or her clothes. I was trying so hard to hear what she was saying. As a public servant, I had 5 dresses that I ordered from a magazine, from a catalog called Chadwick's, and they were all under $50. And I had the same pair of shoes resold so many times. They knew me when I would pull up. They're like, where are the heels? So, you know, not every lawyer charges $1,000 an hour. I was more interested in what she had to say, but I couldn't hear it. So those voice and coach suggestions, really a good idea. She better do better in front of a jury than she did at that podium. But when it comes to Reiner, I find it very curious. Well, actually probative. He is no longer under suicide watch because he did not have on a suicide smock. He was wearing a inmate outfit, but it was different from GP, which I believe is blue. He was wearing tan pants and a white shirt, which means he's still under, quote, high observation within the Twin Towers CI Correctional Institute. What does that tell me? He's, and one thing, I don't know if you saw this, but when they started talking about what was happening, he's getting a new lawyer, he looked right over at her and acknowledged her. That guy ain't crazy. He
Agreed.
looked in a sea of faces. He understood what was happening, what the judge was saying, what everybody was implying, and he looked over and ID'd Kimberly Green as his lawyer. But he's under high observation, and here's a problem. Another Nepo baby, Sam Haskell, I covered. He murdered his wife, May, and his in-laws who were trying to help raise his children. He was constantly on TikTok and Insta whining about various restaurants in LA. Did not work a lick. His wife paid the house note. His father is a high-profile agent to the stars like Dolly Parton. I mean, megastars. Nepo baby ended up killing himself in Twin Towers, and he had been on a suicide watch and taken off. And do I have to say Epstein? I want this guy to go to trial. I want Reiner at trial. I want to hear, unlike Kohberger and the very weak prosecutor that pled that out, I want this case to go to trial so the siblings left behind will have some answers.
Yeah, I mean, as with Kohberger, that's the perfect segue, I don't know that we'll ever really get a why. I think the best that we can surmise, and we will learn more about the dynamics in that house, but he seemed to be full of rage. He had drug issues from a very early age, behavioral issues from a very early age. Rob Reiner gave an interview, and I am in no way blaming the victims, in which he did say, though, that they went to any number of credentialed experts and they decided the best course of action was not to listen to those people, but to listen to their son. And his behavior was escalating and escalating to the point where they were basically, whether they were forced to leave the Conan party or not, they felt they had no choice. Now, Kohberger's sister, her name, she goes by Mel, spoke to the New York Times. This piece was published on Wednesday, January 7th. The headline, her brother murdered 4 students. Now she's ready to talk. Well, I'm so happy that she now feels ready to tell her story. The readout in the online version says that Mel is going to talk about the Kohberger families, their pain, their confusion. You know, this thing happened the blink of an eye ago. And this piece is such a piece of journalistic malpractice. The interviewer, the guy's name is Mike Baker. He either does not know nor does he care to read in to the details of this case. But Megyn Kelly took this apart on her show this week in such an incredibly elegant, like surgical manner. And I just want to play this bit of part of her evisceration of this and then come back on the other side, Nancy, and get your thoughts. Here we go.
The mother is at the center of this whole thing because while the father did not even bother to show up to the sentencing, allegedly he wasn't feeling well or was having heart trouble and Mel stayed home with him, the mother showed up. And the mother has been there for Bryan all along. When we finally got a hold of his phone records, we found out that the murders, which were done at between 4:05 and 4:20 a.m. It was in a 12-minute span, right, in that exact time frame. And he had turned off his phone from like 2:30 to 4:30 a.m. there while he committed these crimes. Then he turned his phone back on. So he gets back to his home, University of Washington, by, let's say, 5:45, 6 at the latest. What happens, or 4:45, 5 at the latest, what happens when he gets there? He calls his mother within an hour. We know from his phone records that at 6:13 a.m., this is within 2 hours of having hacked 4 innocents to death with a knife, just him. At 6:13 a.m., he made an attempt to call his mother. A minute later, angry that he couldn't get her, he called his dad, asking why his mother did not answer. At 6:17 a.m., he connects with his mother for 36 minutes. At 8:03 a.m., he calls his mother again and speaks to her for 54 minutes while driving back to the crime scene in Moscow, Idaho. Why was he doing that? Had she told him, make sure you go back and see about the knife sheath? Had he confessed anything to the mother? It's very hard to believe they didn't discuss it. 120 minutes after he did it, when he was obviously very insistent on getting a hold of the mother in the first place. At 9 a.m., another 9-minute conversation with the mother, totaling over 3 hours of conversation that day via 5 calls, none of which is mentioned in this rehabilitative puff piece in the New York Times that did absolutely no kicking of the sisters' story or tires.
What do you make of it, Nancy?
Well, you've got a reporter for the New York Times doing a puff piece. That's what it is. They might as well done a fashion piece or an interior design piece about where she lived, because it did not reach the heart of what this is about. The whole reason we are here is because her brother brutally murdered 4 innocent people. At the get-go, we were led to believe that the 4 victims went to sleep and they woke up in heaven. That is not what happened. One victim was stabbed around 30 times in the face. Her teeth were stabbed out. Another victim was sliced across the jugular, and there was arterial bleeding, like a water sprinkler in that room. I find it very hard to believe the mother, at least, did not know anything had happened. Now, what concerns me about the article is that the sister was not cross-examined on these very critical issues, the issues that actually mattered. Now, I'll hand it to the family. They endured Kohberger and all of his bullying and all of his heroin addiction and getting him clean and getting him in school. Great. But that's not why we're here. We're here because he is a 4-time killer, and we're trying to get insight into that. What happened? Because the prosecutor left us high and dry. And it will be a cold day in HELL that I believe that mother did not know what was going on. I'd like to get her on cross-exam.
Yes. And so, the piece, first of all, the accompanying photo to this piece, this woman has like half of her hair is blue. She is dressed in sort of a gothy, like studded black ensemble. She says she's been trying to get work in the mental health field, but then her brother murdered 4 people, and that's put her career in the toilet. She says that so the one person they did reach out to, Mike Baker and his shoe leather, Steve Goncalves, the father of Ms. Goncalves, said he had sympathy for Mr. Kohberger's sisters and the scrutiny they had endured in recent years, but he said he had lingering questions about what Mr. Kohberger's parents might have known or suspected. The sister herself, I believe, said that she had witnessed Bryan in the aftermath of the murders back at his parents' home, putting his own refuse and possibly clothing in Ziploc baggies and then depositing that in the neighbor's trash can. He was driving the same car that the FBI was looking for. And, it's like, is the one possible benefit of this piece that, like, a civil suit gets launched? Because if the mother knew and the mother was helping Bryan to cover this up, he said, according to this piece, he wrote as a young man of having no emotions. You cannot tell me that evidence of psychopathy was not there at a younger age. I'm sorry.
Yes, this is not going to do anything to help Mel's career in mental health. If she lived with a spree, some say serial killer, and didn't notice anything was wrong, didn't get any clue, no forewarning that he was off the rails for all those years. Nobody knew. Yeah, that's not going to help her at all. But we've seen a previous similar attempt when Gabby Petito's family sued the family of Brian Laundrie. Laundrie murdered Gabby. Then he comes back across the country in Gabby's Ford Transit with Gabby's items, her belongings, her phone, but no Gabby. And the victim's family kept trying to find Gabby Petito. Where is she? She should have been back. What's happening? They wouldn't take the calls. They had nothing to do with the Petito family, desperate to find their daughter. And the Petitos believe that they covered up evidence. That lawsuit has gone really nowhere. So it's going to be hard to prove that they did, but we can deduce that Kohberger's mother did know. With all those phone calls immediately after a quadruple slaying, and he is so insistent, he's got to talk to his mom, about what? The weather? Obviously, about what had just happened.
You know, to your point, this is such a great point. And this, I think, puts the lie to this assertion that they just had no idea. They were just a nice Catholic family who loved to read Little House on the Prairie. And, they had no idea they had this psychopath in their family. And to your point about the Gabby Petito case, I think of those cases in which a family member, a close family member, does come forward and says, I think that my sibling, my son, my parent is the one responsible. I think about the Unabomber's brother who did not want to go to the feds, hoped against hope it wasn't his brother, but thought that it probably was, and he had to do the right thing.
I very rarely have seen adult children or siblings of killers say your dad is a killer, your brother is a killer, admit that, yes, he did it. And I don't know why that is. I'm a trial lawyer, not a shrink, but I think that they can't take it in that they did nothing to stop it. And how could you not put together the fact that he's in Pullman, 15 minutes, in fact, he used to jog to near where the King Road address was, the spot of the murders. And they knew that. They knew he was jogging in that area. And he's got the white Elantra. I mean, how could they not at least consider he was the killer? So, I've spoken with the Gonsalves family many times, and I never once speak to them that I don't walk away feeling like my stomach hurts. Like when you're really, really hungry to where it really just hurts. It just hurts after I talk to them because those families have been done so wrong. And now there's a New York Times piece on the Kohberger family pain. It tastes like a dirt sandwich even saying it.
It's so true. It's it really, Dominic Dunn left a huge hole in the culture because we do not have print criminal reporting or high profile trial reporting the way we used to with Dominic Dunn, who spent years trying to, just for one example, get Michael Skakel in front of a jury for the slaying of Martha Moxley. I know that conviction was vacated, but instead we've got crap like this in the New York Times. Feel sorry for me. My brother is a homicidal maniac who snuffed out 4 young lives and seemed to enjoy doing it. And it looks like my mom was an accessory after the fact, just my opinion. But hey, we just want to re-enter polite society. Please, won't you help us? And the New York Times says, sure, why not?
I find it so concerning that so much emphasis is placed on the killer and his family when what the victims have been through and what they will go through the rest of their lives. This past Thanksgiving, I cooked a big turkey, and we have a turkey off every Thanksgiving. My husband smokes a turkey, I bake one, and then everybody votes. They always give him the mercy vote. I don't care if the turkey's black. It doesn't matter. He always wins. But we were all gathering together, and I thought about the Gonsalves family and the other families involved, the victims, because remember, this happened around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And how can they ever have, every year, August the 6th, all I can think about, that's the day my fiance was murdered. Leading up to it, I feel like crap. I don't know whether to cry or to scream or just try to go to sleep. And then after it, and on that day, I try, because I have the twins. Got to try to keep my lamp lit for them. What about losing your child? Your child your heart of your heart. And now they have to read this. I pray to God they didn't look at the New York Times. With all the power the Times has, all the influence, that's what they did.
Agreed. I couldn't agree with you more. Well, Nancy, thank you so much for joining us again on The Nerve to talk about both the slayings of Rob and Michelle Reiner and what's next in that case, and the continuing saga of the Bryan Kohberger case and the long shadow that still casts over us. We look forward to speaking with you as these stories develop. Thank you again.
Thank you for inviting me and also being a voice for victims. You know, the Constitution protects the defendant, and I'm not claiming the Constitution is wrong. I get it. I live by the rules. I tried cases by the rules. But nowhere are the victims protected. Nowhere. Every constitutional right protects the defendant at trial and before trial and after trial. I've read those rights to defendants a million times. Every time I took a plea, I'd give the rights again so they would know they don't have to plead. They can go to trial. I'd be happy to take them to trial. I want to take them to trial. But nothing for the victims. So I want to thank you. It really means a lot to me to be invited on with you and to hear you speak. Thank you.
Oh, that's so appreciated and quite a compliment one I take very seriously. Thank you, Nancy, and we will see you soon. Coming up, troublemaker feedback. We will get into a different little groove. We are back in a minute. We all know about yo-yo dieting, or what doctors call weight cycling. It's when people lose 10 or so pounds and then put those pounds back on, plus a couple of more. It's not only tough on your body, but it can be extremely frustrating. The bottom line, most people need help losing weight, and a great way is with non-prescription Lean. Lean is an oral supplement, not an injection, and the science is impressive. Their ingredients target weight loss in 3 ways: by maintaining healthy blood sugar, controlling appetite and cravings, and helping to burn fat by converting it to energy. If you want to lose meaningful weight at a healthy pace and keep it off, add Lean to your diet and exercise lifestyle. Get 20% off when you enter NERVE at takelean.com. That's code NERVE at takelean.com. We are back, and it is time to look at incredible troublemaker art, listen to your amazing feedback. You guys are also sending in questions for Belinda Carlisle. She is going to be joining us on The Nerve next week. So if anything occurs to you, anything that you'd like to know about Belinda or her career or her travels or her fashion, just email me. We'll give you the address again towards the a little bit later in the show, or DM me on Instagram. Now, we got a ton of feedback to the Chevy Chase segment we did, in which we tore through that CNN documentary about him, in which he reveals himself to be an unrepentant, treatment-resistant asshole. And we got such great stuff, and I'm going to read just a couple of them to you, dear Maureen. Please do not use my name. Not a problem. I will say the header to this email is Chevy Chase. What a jerk. What I'm about to tell you is technically hearsay. That's okay. We're a cultural criminal court. My former husband grew up as a neighbor to and friends with the brother of Sarah Holcomb. Sarah made her film debut as the mayor's daughter in Animal House and also played Maggie in Caddyshack. My husband told me years ago that when Sarah was in Caddyshack, she hung out with Chevy, allegedly, in all caps, just this troublemaker's report. As a result of her palling around with him, she became addicted to some pretty powerful drugs. She was in such a bad state that she had to drop out of Hollywood in order to get her life back together. As discussed in the doc, Chevy had a heavy cocaine and alcohol problem. She has been quiet and private all these years, not wanting anything to do with the Hollywood scene, including her notable absence from any Caddyshack retrospectives. Thanks for your very thorough takedown of a very unpleasant individual. Our pleasure. I love nothing more. Chevy Chase. Hi, Maureen. I'm currently reading a fun book written by former talk show host Mike Douglas. If you are of a certain age, you will remember the Mike Douglas talk show. It aired like in the late afternoons, and it was a really, really fun, convivial talk show. His book, his memoir was called "I'll Be Right Back." This troublemaker included a photo of the book jacket, which is so cool. I love old vintage, it's redundant, excuse me, but vintage like celebrity memoir and like celebrity book cover art. Like, and this one is just chef's kiss. And anyway, Mike writes in his book, this troublemaker, Kim, took a screenshot of it and sent to me. Okay, so this is Mike writing about Chevy being booked on his show to promote one of his National Lampoon vacation flicks. I liked Chevy, Mike writes, and his off-the-wall humor. Would you believe he didn't show up again? Second time he was booked on the show and just didn't show up. And Mike continues, never called before or after to apologize or explain. Of over 30,000 guests booked for the Mike Douglas show, we only had a handful of last-minute cancellations or missed connections, but the only guest that ever outright stiffed us was Chevy Chase twice. And more than one troublemaker emailed to remind me that Johnny Carson, at one point, like Chevy was floated to Johnny as like a potential like substitute host for the Tonight Show. And Johnny shot it down right away. And he said something, I'm paraphrasing, I'm going to try to get it as pinpoint as I can, but that Chevy Chase was such a witless asshole that like he couldn't improvise a fart after a bean sandwich. Love from Canada, moving on. Artwork I've created with my cat, Daisy, and we're going to show a full screen of it. Daisy is wearing a blonde wig, sunglasses, a triple strand of pearls, and is holding a notebook that reads allegedly, reportedly, the troublemakers. Bonjour, Maureen. This is troublemaker Nadia. Here's some artwork I've created for you using my sweet, loving cat Daisy as the subject. This is you reporting on Stedman's whereabouts. I placed her as you gathering evidence while a plane, look at the details. This is a true troublemaker. A plane flies in the background with a rescue Stedman flyer. Oh my God. Plus, I think Oprah deserves her own shed. That's in the background. This header, the worst. Hi, Maureen, you're the worst. I hope you get what's coming and lose everything like woman fuck from a former fan turned your biggest hater, Harmony. Fuck you. I wish you would be more direct, Harmony. What did I do? Okay, that made me laugh out loud. Okay, this feedback may be controversial, but I actually think it's very salient. And this is a troublemaker. Her name is Angela, and she is saying the thing that polite media will not say. And you know what? It deserves to be said because I wrote about this in Ask Not. I wrote about the horrible, abhorrent way that Caroline Kennedy and her husband, Ed, treated Anne Freeman, the grieving mother of Carolyn Bessette and Lauren Bessette, who JFK Jr., through his own recklessness, if not a suicidal, murderous impulse, killed her two daughters. And when Anne went to meet with what she thought was going to be a one-on-one with Caroline Kennedy, Caroline never showed. Instead, she sent her husband, Ed, who, according to Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s diaries, which I have seen with my own eyes and I write about and Ask Not, I will never forget the phrasing that RFK Jr. used, that Ed, quote, bullied the shattered, grieving mother. Hi, Maureen. I remember reading that Caroline and her husband, Ed, were not very sensitive to the Bessette family after the plane crash. I hope they haven't experienced similar behavior from others now that they have lost their own daughter to a tragedy. Moving on, Timothy Shalamala Ding Dong, who some of you have suggested we amend, and I kind of like it for award season, to Timothy Shamalama Ding Dong Ping Pong, or should it just be shortened to Timothy Shamalama Ping Pong? You tell me, dear Maureen. Timothy Chalamet, don't care if I spell his name right or wrong here, couldn't agree more. You know, when you see AI, like with Google AI or whatever, and you can tell like what celebrities are really landing in the culture or have made it because they autocorrect like difficult last names. He's one of them. Okay. It's a harbinger of things to come. Okay. Timmy, this troublemaker says, is an absolute buffoon. I didn't know this. Troublemaker Elisa, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, he proudly proclaims he nearly ruined his own eyesight just so he could wear real glasses for Marty Supreme. What? I mean, who the F cares? The audience doesn't know the difference. I agree. I don't even know if I believe it. And also, apparently, Timmy has adjusted his timeline of how long he spent in training to be an authentic underground ping pong player. And I think we've expanded the timeline from 2 years to 6 years, which, I mean, if you're telling me Marty Supreme was even written 6 years ago, I doubt it. Anyway, this troublemaker thinks that Timmy has had a deal with the Kardashians, that if they promoted his film and won the Oscar, he'd propose to her. Headline, subject line, Timothy Chalamet's latest cinematic art, prefigured by a 2007 garbage comedy film. This is Ryan, troublemaker Ryan. You are not the only one to point this out, and I love it. Every time I hear about Timothy Chalamet's latest Oscar bait movie, I am reminded of the 2007 film Balls of Fury. Balls is not a terribly good, just my opinion, screwball comedy. It's a comedy about a high-stakes underground table tennis tournament controlled by an East Asian organized crime syndicate. I cannot get over the fact that Chalamet is trying to rig the sport for serious drama after almost 20 years since Balls demonstrated the ridiculousness of doing so. Hello there, Maureen. Oh, Maureen, you and I both certainly do not judge. As my very judgmental mother used to say, I don't judge, I describe. I love it. Your faithful troublemaker, Jan. Okay, this is the last one. I saved this one made me laugh out loud. This is a regular correspondent named Wayne. And I'm also just going to give a shout out right now to Armando of, quote, I love you too much. Armando, we have not heard from you recently. We hope everything is okay. Please email us and let us know how you're doing and that all is well. Now, this is from Troublemaker Wayne. Again, dear Maureen, true story. I am pleased to report to you that Stedman Graham is back home and I have to let Teddy know. I have to let him know of this latest update in his ongoing open investigation and still in one piece after his latest harrowing assignment with Delta Force. In Wayne's version of Stedman's alternate life, his explanation, his absence from the scene, let alone Oprah's side or vicinity, has to do with Stedman being special ops in Delta Force, which involved snatching Venezuelan President Maduro and his wife. In fact, Stedman has asked me to convey a personal message to you. Stedman writes, Maureen, on the way back to the chopper, Mrs. M assaulted me pretty badly for a while. I didn't think the biting, kicking, and screaming would ever end. You have to understand that I haven't been pummeled that bad since I told Oprah maybe she should start thinking about losing a pound or two. But the wife of a dictator and despot could never match Oprah's sadism. No, not even in the same league. Oprah would tie me to a chair. Then she and Gail would flick lit cigarettes at me, and the evil laughter and cackling never let up. I still wake up in the middle of the night in cold sweats hearing Oprah's voice. I am the devil's daughter, Stedman, and you just crossed the line. Her eyes were glowing, luminescent, green and red. They both had grown, pointed tails and sprouted horns, and they were now standing before me on hooves. In a burst of adrenaline, I managed to get my hands free. I vaulted from the abandoned warehouse where she was holding me captive. I can still hear her words echoing in the night air. As long as you are alive, Stedman, you will never be safe. You can run, but you can't hide. I am the devil's daughter. Do you hear me, Stedman? I am the devil's daughter. True story. Stedman, get a burner phone, man. Reach out to Nerve HQ. Go to a library, go to a public library, a public space, an internet cafe. Do an anonymous URL and get in touch with us. We will send. Teddy is ready to send SEAL Team 6 for an extraction. Please keep the feedback coming. Email me at Maureen at devilmaycaremedia.com or DM me on Instagram at Maureen Callahan Writer or at The Nerve Show. And remember to subscribe to The Nerve's Substack. It's just our weekly dedicated email to troublemakers with great additional proprietary content. And we've also decided that's where we're going to start putting specific pieces of troublemaker art. And we're going to be talking to the troublemaker artists about their inspiration, their method, their process, and what about the show hits them the way it does. You can do that over at thenerveshow.com. Plus, we are putting out a call for an intern. And that call involved emailing Paul from New Zealand and saying, hey, Paul, would you mind making us some art so we could post this on Instagram? And he was like, sure, no problem. The next morning, we had 2 versions in our inbox. Paul, we salute you. We will have all the details up on the Nerves Instagram page, so take a look for that. We are ideally looking for someone in the tri-state New York area, not required, but ideal. And if you think you have the nerve to be our next intern, please get in touch with us. Up next, Tim, the celebrity makeup artist, is here, back in a minute. Your liver does more than you'll probably ever know, but let me tell you a little bit. It handles energy, hormones, digestion, and even your mood. But stress, toxins, and processed foods are constantly overloading it. So what can you do? Introducing Peak's Liver Detox Protocol. This 2-step system is both gentle and powerful. Peak leverages nature's most potent botanicals, minerals, and vitamins, and combined with their cutting-edge extraction technology, creates supplements that make a difference. Their protocol has 2 main parts: a strong Sri Lankan turmeric mixed with cinnamon and black pepper to help your body absorb it better, and a spicy Sri Lankan ginger combined with cinnamon to support your immune system, improve blood flow, and help with digestion. This all leads to less bloating, steadier energy, and a clearer head. No miracles, just consistent well-being. Peak elevates nature's best with cutting-edge tech, pure, effective. Ditch the fads, commit to intentional health. Unlock 20% off and establish your powerful foundation for sustained well-being at peaklife.com/thenerve. That's PIQUE life.com/thenerve. We are back, and Tim MacKay, aka Tim the celebrity makeup artist, is here for our next Hate Watch. It is Emily in Paris, and we're going to start with the first 2 episodes, and then you guys tell us if you need us to gut it out through the other 4 to 6 episodes, or if you would like us to move on to something. I'm playing with the idea of next doing a show that we actually love to watch. I mean, The Pit just came back on HBO Max yesterday, on Thursday, and I haven't had a chance to dive in yet, but I cannot wait. I love, love, love The Pit. So, let us know your thoughts on that, and we'll do what you want. As I always say, you're the boss. Tim, Happy New Year. Welcome back.
Hey, Maureen, Happy New Year. I'm so excited to be back here at The Nerve, and so good to see you as always.
Same. You're looking very well rested and refreshed.
Thank you. Thank you. I've actually had a pretty busy start to 2026, which I'm grateful for because this is like my dead time. Not a
Oh, really?
Yeah, I feel like once the holidays hit, it's like, everything slows down, productions, like press slows down. So I'm excited to just be booked at all, and I'm excited to be here with you. So, gotta go with the flow.
I love it. Okay, so we're going to get started with episode 1 of Emily in Paris, which comes back to us now as Emily in Rome. I do not approve. I do not approve. Paris is Paris. Rome is a whole other kettle of fish. There's something extremely aspirational and kind of leans into the whole, like, just like really unapologetic femininity of the show, you know, this fantasy of this young woman in Paris and everything falling into her lap. But now we're in Rome, and it's almost like a needle scratch on a vinyl album. It's we've got a new haircut. We've got a new color palette. I do not like the costuming. We'll talk about all of that. We've got zero personal or professional growth. We're going to start with Emily confronting her actual boss, the sophisticate Sylvie, who I love. I love this character. I love this actress. Emily doesn't like it that Sylvie has decided to plant her flag in the best office in the Rome outpost of Sylvie's company. Here we go.
And also, wasn't this supposed to be my office?
Let's not get hung up on hierarchy, Emily. You're welcome to use that stool when I'm gone.
Since we're sharing, I would appreciate it if you wouldn't smoke in here. Or anywhere in the office, for that matter.
So many rules. If you insist.
I really do.
Tim, I find everything about this character insufferable. You know, when I first started watching Emily in Paris, I just kind of leaned into like it was like a fantasy. It's like bonbons just going down really smoothly. And then once you started like going into like viewer comment threads and Reddit threads, which I love to do, there would be plenty of provocateurs in there going, no, Emily's the worst. And once you start watching it through that lens, you can't unsee it. Like, Emily is the living effing worst. Telling her boss in the real estate she's paying for that she can't smoke a cigarette out a window if she so desires. And then I really do. I really insist. I have to underscore that. I have to underscore my smug, unearned superiority. Am I overreacting, Tim?
No, you're not, because it is Sylvie's company, so she should literally be able to do whatever she wants. And also, I don't know if it's the same episode or if it's another episode, but she tells Sylvie she can't even vape. And vaping, I'm sorry, like, I know a lot of people don't like vaping indoors, whatever, but like, this is the head of the company. Like, it's honestly, and you don't smell it. It doesn't leave a smell. It doesn't linger. And it's her own office. You wouldn't even know if you didn't catch her. You wouldn't even know she was vaping. So it's ridiculous that she has so much authority. But I feel like this show is trying so hard to make Emily like this grown up all of a sudden. Like, that's why they gave her that blunt haircut, and like they're putting her in these big boxy like men almost like tuck like blazers, and it's just kind of like they're trying to make her this boss, and I'm just not buying it. Like, I liked the princess aspect, like you said, like that fun frivolous girl in Paris. They can't do that forever, but I just don't buy what they're trying to do with her now.
I don't buy it either. You know, the other thing, so the hot French chef, Gabrielle, right? I don't know
totally
his name in real life.
He's totally sidelined this season.
Yeah, and I thought he actually quit the show. Didn't he quit the show? Didn't he make a big stink? Like, I'm too good of an actor for this garbage.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he's did that after this season for sure. Because I'm like, I don't know what they must have done to bring him back, but I also don't know why. There's already like 5 love interests on this show. They're like, it's just there's too many people. Half of them are weak men anyways that like have no spine, and I don't know what they plan on doing with him. Like, they just kind of were like, okay, we're gonna ship you off for half the series, maybe even longer than that, half the season. At least.
I know, it's so strange. And you know what I hate, and I feel like we should give it the sort of appellation of like, it's like the Sarah Jessica Parker rule of writing rom-coms. Like, every man has to fall in love with her. Mm-hmm. Every man has to be heartsick over her. Every man has to follow her, like Big followed Carrie over to Paris. Bullshit. That would never, as discussed. In real life, he'd be on, he'd be dating an OnlyFans model, an influencer, whatever. But Gabrielle follows Emily over to Rome so he can mope around and get a pep talk from Sophie about how Emily's new love interest isn't going to last. So this brings us to our next clip, in which this is one of those tropes I truly loathe. I loathe it. It's the young fashionista. Again, it's a Sarah Jessica Parker rule. I wear heels everywhere. I just wear 6-inch platform heels everywhere. Even if we're going to go hunting in the woods for truffles. And my new boyfriend has told me repeatedly I should swap out those shoes for sneakers. I have to be me. And you know what? I'm a brainless effing fashionista. Here we go.
Oh, are those your shoes?
Oh, yeah, I wasn't totally informed of the plans.
Oh, Marcello,
That's a lie.
Girl. Those shoes are for the runway.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'll be fine. And I'm so excited to be truffle hunting. But I thought that you used pigs.
Oh, no, they stopped using pigs years ago.
Yeah, they're too aggressive and didn't know when to stop.
Well, that's not very good. Anyway, I love dogs. And they love me.
The dog speaks for us all. Get out of our faces. Back off, sister. Tell me your thoughts about that scene, Tim.
I mean, she's ridiculous, but I also feel like what a boring scene. Like they're like, let's have a scene of them going truffle hunting, like going through the woods, truffle. Is that what the show? It's filler. It's like in a short 10 episode show now. Do we really have time to just make our main character look dumb by in these stilt shoes walking through the mud and looking for mushrooms? And then what? She finds what she thinks is the right mushroom, but it's the wrong mushroom. And they're like, ha ha ha. What was the point of that? What was the point of this scene? I just don't get what they're trying to do in the show anymore. It's so filler. Everything feels like filler.
Well, that's a deliberate thing, and it's been going on for quite a while now. Those scenes are deliberately written into scripts, whether it's for streaming or network or movies, because they all know they're competing with the primary screen, which is this. So those scenes, those are written so that you can get bored. Your wiring is like, oh, I want to go and see what's going on Instagram. And then you're like, wait, I'm watching this thing, and you can go back and you can dip in and out. And like, there's no problem whatsoever. It's so depressing. It's so depressing. It makes me really long for the days when like a filmmaker, like every single cut, every single moment, every single look, every single line, it all meant something and was like contributing to this greater piece of art that, by the time you're through with it, I just did a Redford binge after he died. And I watched 3 days of The Condor for the second time, and I was blown away again because it was so rich, it was so rich.
Yeah.
And you just don't get, yeah.
No, I agree with you. And this show is the complete opposite of that. Like, do we really need a performance from Mindy every single episode? Like, I get it.
No,
I get it.
No, make it stop.
You're a theater girl. We get it. I saw her when she was on Broadway, when she was in Mean Girls. Like, so I get it. Like, let's bring her on TV and let her perform. We don't need that every episode. This isn't like a musical show. We get it. She can sing. And the costumes, like you're dressing her up like a circus freak so that she can perform every episode. And we don't need it. The show does not need it. Let's cut it all out and we'll have 7 episodes.
And this is how they don't know what to do with her character anymore. They should have written her off. They should have just sent her back to Asia and made her like a major star of like of their version of Idol or The Voice or whatever, and just be done with it.
Because they are trying to make her a star. They're like, oh my God, everyone in Italy knows you. Like everyone in Rome seeing you on TikTok. I'm like, how? How does everyone know Mindy? Like the show wants Mindy to be this big celebrity for some reason, and I'm not buying it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. And you can tell they don't know what to do with her because now they're pairing her with Emily's ex-boyfriend and trying to make that, and it's like, there's never been a spark between them. There's never been a hint of competition. Like, make the show interesting. Make Emily and Mindy very competitive as their careers advance. Like, bring some friction in here. Drama needs conflict. And I don't think the stakes are high enough here. And speaking of conflict, Tim, I needed to talk to you about Emily's costumes because these feel visually very aggressive. We're wearing like these green and white stripes that and the green platforms. And like, I don't know if this is a skirt or a skirt or whatever. And then we see her next in like this blue and white chinoiserie. Like she looks like a table setting, I don't, and it's aggressive and it's hard to look at. What do you think they're doing here?
And it's not even just her. Like Mindy, I feel like is even more extreme. Like Mindy's outfits got me furious, like watching this show. And she walks out with that stupid little conductor's hat and like the green outfit, the mint. But yeah, with Emily, like her costumes too. I don't know why they only give the good costumes to Sylvie. They said everything that Sylvie wears, even when it's a little bit bold, will still be on brand and still like elevate her. Whereas these two, like, it's almost like it's distract. Remember my rule, like when you have not much to talk about, the show likes to distract. So it seems like whenever I see them in these ridiculous clown outfits, I'm like, now the show is about to distract, because now like they don't even care if we're listening to the words. All they're saying is like, oh, let's look at that teapot costume that she's wearing next to like Miss Orange, and like it just, none of it makes sense. Like I know that I love a little fantasy in a show. I love a little like lack of realism, but this show just looks, you can't have these girls parading down the street like that while everyone else looks totally normal and no one's looking at them. No one's giving them side eye. No one thinks it's weird. They're just like, yep, that's just how they dress here.
Yes. And also 2 young professionals working in media, which they both are, would be on TikTok and Instagram all day long, looking at the codes for Rome, for a media person in Rome. How do I dress? How do I dress to stand out just a little bit, but to work myself into the culture and the way that women my age look in that culture, or the kind of woman I want to be? Totally dead on, Tim, as usual. I thank you for reminding me of your distract rule. You're so right. Right. So now we're going to cut to, we're in episode 2. And Emily we're talking about a grandmother we've never heard of. We don't know. There's a lot of expository dialogue. I hate exposition. It means the writing is bad. And it's clunky. So she unwraps this vintage Fendi bag that she says her grandmother has given her before she goes to a meeting with Fendi. You tell me, Tim, if you would wear the label while you're going to the label. I don't know if that's kosher or not, but anyway, she shows it to Mindy, who is nothing but electrified to see this artifact, and Emily's being a complete bitch to Mindy. Here we go.
So I have a meeting with one of my favorite brands today.
No. Fendi?
Oh, if Grandma could see me now.
Oh, no. Is Grandma goes too?
What? No, she lives in Lake Bluff. I still can't believe that she gave this to me. She loved it so much.
You've never let me see it in daylight. It's stunning.
No natural oils until the beeswax leather conditioner dries.
Okay. I'm surprised you brought it to Rome.
What, and leave it with you in Paris? Who knows what you get up to while I was away.
So if you're just listening, Emily gave Mindy a smackdown, like, don't you dare touch my Fendi until all the oil has completely dried, and I couldn't leave it with you anyway because you're just trash. And you might take my Fendi without even asking me, and then I don't know what you would do with it, like carry it around town. She's such a bitch.
And also, have we ever seen this bag before in the other four seasons that she was in Paris? What was it, like shoved under her bed, that we've never heard of it, seen it, anything before? And she was like, I don't want you to use it. Like, what are you talking about? She probably didn't even know you had it. Like, well, apparently she did now, because they're talking about it as if like, oh, that's the bag that your grandmother had? That fake expositional conversation that you're saying. But we've never even heard of this bag. So Mindy didn't even know about this bag. This bag is stupid. And no, she shouldn't bring it with her to this meeting and hold it right in front of her, thinking she's like Miss Thing. Because as we know, it doesn't even turn out to be real. So
exactly. Metaphor of all metaphors. The bag turns out to be a fake. But also, if you think you have a real Fendi and it's a vintage one that belonged to your grandmother and not only has like actual value in the marketplace, but sentimental value to you, would you really, again, you're a fashionista, okay? Would you really put it in its dust bag and then put it in a cheap plastic bin from the Container Store and then put it underneath your bed? Wouldn't you put it in some sort of climate control or none of it makes sense. Okay. So anyway, Emily comes to find out the bag is a fake. And then she's worried that her boyfriend of like 5 seconds, very, very eligible bachelor, is cheating on her. And so this is another trope I hate because I think it pushes really distorted messaging to girls and young women, which is that materialism conquers all, and that what you really want in a man is a guy who's going to assuage any of your emotional anxieties by taking you shopping. Here we go.
Pick any bag you want.
That's so generous, but you don't have to. I've recovered from my whole fake Fendi fiasco.
This isn't about a bag. I want you to know you have the real thing.
No.
Because from the moment I met you, I knew I did.
First of all, nobody talks like that. Not only does nobody really do that, but nobody talks like that. And it feels very Pretty Woman adjacent, where it's like the emotionally unavailable Richard Gere who just needs like a girlfriend for a week to close a deal is like, yeah, I can't really give you anything emotionally or intellectually, but I can give you my credit card. So go shopping and make yourself feel better.
Marcello is so gross in this show. Like this whole season, he was just so annoying. Like he was like upset about his mother's company, and then he's like gonna start his own. But as soon as his sister tells him it's not good enough, he's ready to cancel the whole thing and yell at Emily. And now his way of making it all better is buying her something. Like that's supposed to be this like wonderful heartfelt thing at the end. Like no, I'm gonna buy you this super expensive luxury bag just to prove to you. And she's smiling with the happy music in the background. Like what? This isn't like where the credits roll in the movie at the end. Like this, I don't know. It just felt very materialistic, and I would have liked it better if she was like, no, you literally don't have to do this. That's where I thought it was going to go. I thought she was going to be like, you don't have to do this to prove anything to me. Just like show me that you care about me. Don't just buy me a bag and think that that's going to make up for everything. I don't know.
You know, what's also interesting is, so there's another Sex and the City adjacency here, because the song that they're using under that dialogue is, Got to Be Real, that old soul disco classic. And they used that to great effect in Sex and the City. I think it was the runway show where Carrie face plants. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh my God. I couldn't remember if it was, I think you're absolutely right. I was like, was it from the movie? But no, I think you're right. It's from the show, right? Well,
yes.
Yes. But then of course, everyone loves her anyways. But
yeah, of course. She's so adorable. You know, she's so adorable.
Quirky.
But you know, Darren Star, who created the original Sex and the City, is the creator and showrunner of Emily in Paris, and so that makes sense. But what is tricky here is I don't think he has enough young straight women in his writer's room or older women in his writer's room, because this feels like this is a very emotionally stunted girl's approach to life. And as you said, the proper reaction to going pick any bag you want would be like, this is really kind of fucked up. I don't like it.
No, totally. And I think you're absolutely right. It kind of is like, it almost feels like a gay man's world, like much like a Ryan Murphy show, where it's like women aren't dressing like how women really dress. I love fantasy. I love a woman in heels. I love it all. But I just think that the show takes it to a different level. Not even like a nice Patricia Fields. I mean, I don't think she does the styling. I hope not.
She was doing it, but I don't know if she still is, because
I don't know.
I looked at those costumes we were talking about earlier, and I just can't see her putting those girls in them. I just can't.
Yeah, no. So, I just think that the show is kind of going off the rails with the costumes, and oh my God, I wanted to make sure that we brought this up too. The makeup. Yeah. I feel like throughout the whole show, and especially in this season too, Emily's makeup is either heavy or yellow.
Yes.
And I've just noticed it's so distracting, because then you see Mindy, who has like this like plump, luscious skin, always glowing, always radiant. And then you see Sylvie, whose makeup always looks very, very natural and demure, with some eyeliner, some peach blush, and like a nude lip. But Emily always looks heavy. And then they like try to put on a dark lip to balance out this short little bob that she has. And it just looks like opaque yellow foundation with a purple lip, and it clashes. And I've noticed it, not in every episode, but I've noticed it in a lot of episodes.
Thank you for articulating what's been bugging me about the close-ups on the Emily character. It feels between the severity of the bob, the middle part, it all feels very angular. The bold lip, she's got very heavy eyebrows, and then these very aggressive graphic patterns she's wearing. It's hard. It's a hard look, and it's hard to look at.
Absolutely. So I don't know if it is Patricia Fields doing the outfit, but it doesn't feel the same. I don't know. I love Sylvie. I know we both love her, but she's like
we both love Sylvie.
To the point of the Darren Star thing. How about the whole gay pride episode? I don't know if we have time to talk about that, but
I've only gotten to like the beginning of episode 3.
Oh my God. Well,
I'm having so much trouble getting through this.
I won't get into it, but Mindy, there's a gay pride episode. So like, of course they're at gay pride, which already is it's a lot. And then they have Mindy dressed in full BDSM clothes, and her hair is up in a red wig with spikes, and she's in complete BDSM. And I guess that's what gay pride is. Like, I think and it's like that what a woman would wear to a gay pride parade. I was like, why is that gay pride? And I know that there's a lot of gay men that would love that aesthetic, but I just thought it was very strange that a woman would go to a gay pride dressed as a BDSM kind of kinky.
That is such a great point. And again, like that is not the way a woman would think about approaching that, like a straight woman. I'm sorry, it's not. It's like you were saying, it's like a gay male fantasy. It's like, so you're talking about like sadomasochism as adjacent to supporting gay rights, or gay accept, like what?
Which I've never like loved that. Like I've lived in New York for 15 years now, and I've just always kind of felt that about gay pride. I love what it stands for, being proud of yourself, but I don't think that people need to be naked and like talking about, like, I don't know, having sex in the street, pretty much.
Tim, you're just the sweetest. You really are. You're sophisticated and you're very sweet.
Oh,
I want it while I have a little bit of time with you still, because you and I are both like real movie buffs. And with the Globes around the corner, with the Critics' Choice Awards on last Sunday, the SAG Awards were just announced. We're like in awards season. I wanted to talk to you about a few movies that I was catching up on over the break. And get your thoughts, because I am really having a lot of trouble as a movie lover. This is all breaking my heart. Okay, one battle after another. I could not get through this movie. It's currently streaming on HBO Max. I could not get through it. Tell me your thoughts.
I tried watching it. You know, I didn't watch it in theaters because I knew what the messaging was behind it. I don't think that it's great to glorify violence. I love Leonardo DiCaprio, but this whole everything in the trailer, like it just felt like a very like, and that's what I think a lot of these movies that are up for awards right now all feel like they're dated from 5 years ago. Like they're like, maybe they were greenlit 4 or 5 years ago when we were in a different time period. The culture was a little bit different, but like, I don't know. It felt very aggressive. And so I watched half of it and I was bored. I was so bored. I didn't care.
Same.
I was so bored and I didn't find it funny. And I just didn't, and I'm like, Leonardo DiCaprio, I love you. But like, this was horrible.
Same. It's Paul Thomas Anderson is the director. He's probably going to win Best Director. Given what's going on in the news right now, it's a lock for Best Picture. It's a lock. And it's a celebration of domestic terrorism. It's racially coded. There's a lot of white supremacy. And there is a scene involving Sean Penn that we will be showing. We're saving it for the Globes live stream. We're saving it. You're going to die.
Oh my God.
You're going to die. Okay, moving on. This one I thought I would love. I like movies about celebrity and fame, but movies that explore like the complications of it, the darker sides of it, the costs of it. This is George Clooney, one of our last movie stars, playing an aging movie star named Jay Kelly, who is having a midlife crisis. It's directed by Noah Baumbach, who becomes more self-regarding with every passing day. I found this movie arch. I found it fake. I found it very impressed with itself. And I found it really admiring it's like you could see the way Noah is framing some of these shots and the cinematography. And you can tell how in love with all of it he is. And all it's doing to me as a viewer is taking me out of the story. I feel like a good storyteller, a good film, you find yourself absorbed in this world and you don't take notice of this stuff.
I totally know what you're talking about. I have to admit, I don't remember this movie at all. I know I watched it late one night, I believe, and I cannot remember, but I remember feeling this air of pretentiousness to it. And I feel like it's right along the lines of those movies that just want to win awards and they just want to like, just seem like they have their nose in the air. They don't care about like anything else. I'm honestly surprised that One Battle After Another is up for awards because it doesn't seem like, I don't know, it doesn't feel as artsy as the other ones, like the one you're just speaking of now.
You know what it is? Remember the year when Crash was up against Brokeback Mountain for Best Picture?
Oh my God, yeah.
And everyone knew that Brokeback Mountain was the superior film. It was the best film of that year. And guess what won? For political virtue signaling reasons, Crash. Which nobody remembers now. It was Paul Haggis, right? Since taken down, but you know.
I remember my mom had it on her DVD case. Like, that's what I remember Crash from. Like she had a set of DVDs and I remember she had that in there, but I never watched it.
When I learned what was really going on in that photo of Matt Dillon with now Thandaway, then Thandie Newton, it makes it look like he's a white cop who's helping a black woman. And do you know what's really going on in that photo?
No.
He's sexually assaulting her.
In real life?
In the film.
Oh, in the film. Oh my God.
So it's a really perverse kind of messaging there.
Well, yeah,
It's really,
especially like this we're gonna put right on the cover. This like
yeah. No, that was
dark
the one
scene.
sheet, and that was the one sheet, and that was all the advertising and like the New York Times, all the newspapers when that was a thing. Okay, I want to move on to After the Hunt, Julia Roberts' new film. This has currently 37% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's up for a Golden Globe, nonetheless. Now, this of the multiple movies I tried to get through, this was the only one I watched straight through. To me, it's tar light, and we can talk about Julia's hair, makeup, and styling in the film, which I find very Cate Blanchett in tar coated. I found it spiky. It's not a perfect movie, but I found it riveting, and I found that it had a lot to say, and it wasn't trying to necessarily tell you what to think. What are your thoughts?
I will be honest, I didn't see this one. So this one I know for sure I didn't see because I maybe judged the movie by its trailer. And maybe after hearing what you're saying, I feel like I shouldn't have done that. I will definitely check it out before the Golden Globes, but I just remember seeing the trailer and I can't really remember what it was, but there was some kind of political something that just rubbed me the wrong way. I don't know if it was a they them kind of thing or
maybe
it was. And and if it's in the trailer, I just assume that it's going to be what the movie's all about. So maybe it's not. Maybe it's like this quick little thing in the movie and maybe whatever, I judged it too quickly. So I might have to go back and check it out. But I do see the Cate Blanchett reference. I see that 100%.
Yes, watch it and let's talk about it because
Okay.
I find it deliberate, and you will like it because there's a generational clash in here as well. And Julia is Gen X, and she's teaching a bunch of really woke kids. And there's an amazing scene in which she just explodes on this kid. It's just been building up, and it's all about the world doesn't exist to make you comfortable, and maybe your feelings should get hurt.
Yes, I remember that from the trailer, and I loved that because that's so true. Not everything is supposed to make you comfortable. It's that generation, this new generation needs to know that for sure.
Absolutely. And it's a healthy thing to be made uncomfortable sometimes. Yeah. It's good for you. It builds resilience. And she says this savage thing, which, it's like almost the unsayable thing. And I really loved it. The girl who's at the heart of the movie, who is not a great actress, and they're trying to make a star, and it's not going to happen, I can promise you. In the film, her character is a lesbian dating a they, them, a non-binary. It's a trans man. You actually see the mastectomy scars. It's a real trans actor. But Julia says during this explosion, she says, you're only dating this non-binary they them person because you don't have an identity. You don't even know who you are, and that person makes you interesting.
Oh, so it does get kind of spicy.
It does.
I like that. Okay, great. So it wasn't the direction I thought maybe it was going in.
No, I think you'll like it. I hope you get a chance to watch it before
definitely.
You and I see each other next again. Our final movie, Marty Supreme. I have not seen it yet. I refuse to go see this in a movie theater. I need to stream it so I can shut it off at my convenience. What do you make of Timothée Chalamet Ding Dong? His styling, his professional moves about town at award shows, and in general, the movie, if you have seen it.
Well, he's just been Mr. Cool, right? On this whole press tour. Like he's
the opposite of cool. He thinks he's cool.
Exactly.
Which
Mr.
automatically
Smug.
means he's not cool.
Exactly. And I have no interest in seeing this movie. It's about tennis, and I know it's not all about that. Is it ping pong or is it tennis? I'm not sure.
Excuse me, Tim. Get it right. It's the high stakes, life-threatening world of underground ping pong in New York City.
That is absolutely right. You're right. So, and that sounds pretty dangerous and high stakes and all, but I don't know. I'm like, I saw Dune.
You mean that doesn't appeal to you?
No, it sounds so boring. I'm like, how come Oscar films have to be so weird? Like, how come it has to be like a man's journey to become the best ping pong player in New York? Like, what? Like, go play chess in the park with everybody else. Come on.
Well, listen, the streaming is where it's at. So The Pit is coming back. Industry is coming back. There are more movies that you and I will need to go through between now and the Oscars. There's tons to cover. Yep. So I would like to just invite the troublemakers. If there are any films or shows that you would like Tim and I to take a whack at, just email us. And I guess that's it till I see you back here on The Nerve soon.
Yeah, I would love to. Hopefully it's very soon. And just a fun recommendation for anyone. Like sometimes it's fun to go to a movie that's not trying to be an Oscar movie and knows that it's like kind of sloppy. And that was The Housemaid for me. I went to see The Housemaid and I loved Amanda Seyfried in it. I thought it was really, really fun. I had already read the book, so I knew the twist, but it was just like this, and it's not trying to be anything it's not. It's just this schlocky, like kind of like cheesy thriller from like the 90s kind of, it reminds me, or like, and I loved it.
Yes, I want to see it. I'm probably going to wait until streaming, but that's directed by Paul Feig, correct? F-I-E-G or F-E-I-G, who did A Simple Favor, which falls apart a little bit towards the end, but otherwise is like a perfectly constructed B movie. I love
that's how it
really,
feels.
like a really well done B movie that knows it's a B movie and isn't trying to level up. Is just happy where it's at.
Like a single white female, like super fun like that. Yeah.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. Well, thanks for the rec, Tim.
Of course.
We'll see you soon.
See you soon, Maureen. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Bye.
And that's it. That's it for today's edition of The Nerve. Come back and see us tomorrow for our mini. That drops on YouTube. That's where the minis live for now, over at on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you haven't already, again, check out our Substack. Go over to thenerveshow.com. You'll see a prompt. Put your email address in, subscribe, and you'll get our weekly newsletter that will find its way into your inbox around 3 p.m. Eastern on Fridays, plus Nerve merch. Grab something for yourself or a fellow troublemaker at shopthenerve.com. You can also listen to The Nerve on Megan's podcast playlist every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern on Sirius XM channel 111, the Megyn Kelly channel. And we are 2 days away from our live stream, our Golden Globes live stream. It's going to be a party. You guys already know Rob Shooter's going to be there. We've got another exciting guest for you. You will love it. Be sure to join us, please, over on YouTube at 6:30 p.m. Eastern for some real talk about fake people and for some real red carpet coverage. We're not going to be like, oh my God, asking inane questions of like, whoever's on the carpet this year. Come chat with us over on our side of the street live as we break down this year's red carpet looks, red carpet brats, share all of the thoughts on the nominees. We're going to be taking your thoughts and questions live. It's going to be a great time. 6:30 p.m. Eastern on this Sunday. We will see you tomorrow for the mini. And then again, next week, right here at The Nerve, where you will never guess what we're about to say next.